Manufacturers at times can decide to use funny names for their cars. You have a Suzuki Hustler, you have a Nissan Daze, you have a Subaru Trezia, you actually have a Subaru Stella, you also have something we call a Mazda Carol, and then this, the Honda Grace. Welcome to 0 to 60 Motoring once again. My name is Bill, and in today's episode we are going to analyze this 2016 Honda Grace. Before I tell you more about this car, let me give you a little bit some information about 0 to 60 Motoring. Now, 0 to 60 Motoring actually basically makes your car ownership journey easy. We have prepared many reviews on our Facebook page or even YouTube channel to make sure that you don't get stuck when it comes to making a car purchase decision. So if you want to purchase a car, you can literally check our pages and our YouTube channel. If you miss a review, you can always ask us, you can always ring us to ask us about that specific car. If you own a car that you would like us to review, you can actually get in touch with us such that we organize on how to shoot a video, a thorough review about that car. Here we go, a comprehensive and detailed review of the 2016 Honda Grace. In actual other markets, you are going to find this car. It's going to be carrying names like the Honda Ballad or something like the Honda City. I cannot keep up with the number of requests I've received to actually review this car. So I'm very excited actually to bring you this review. So hang around until the end of this video such that you learn more about this 2016 Honda Grace. And in case you have any questions about this car, whether it's this one or the hybrid flavor, you can drop the messages such that we address them. So what exactly is the Honda Grace? I want you to actually picture the Honda Grace as let me say a Honda Fit in a saloon version. Now if you can recall, in the past the Honda Fit used to have a saloon version which was called the Honda Fit Harrier. So basically the Honda Grace is let me say a newer version of the Harrier. So how does Grace look like? Is she beautiful? This car also utilizes Honda's exciting H design language, which was first used in the Honda Fit. That's why you will find this car, the face is somewhat similar to what you'll be finding in the Honda Fit. I want you to picture this car as a Honda Fit in a sedan or saloon body. Now coming to this face, you have this chrome finish that runs from these LED headlamps on the right side to the left side, and then you have this Honda badge here, logo of course, and then you have these fog lamps here. And then because this is not a hybrid, that's why this emblem is not blue. So the best way to distinguish between a hybrid variant and an unhybrid is that you'll be finding that the hybrid has a, let me say, a blue emblem here or a blue badge. Now coming to the side profile of this Honda Grace, you realize that it comes with these are actually 15-inch wheels. Because this is an entry level or base model, if you can use that term, that's why you are finding that it comes with steel rims. Of course you have these wheel caps here, or these covers here, of course, to improve the overall looks of this car. And then because actually I've said that these are Honda Fit but somewhat in a different package, this one actually has a slightly longer wheelbase. That is why you realize that on the road this one feels more settled than a Honda Fit. And actually when you're looking at this ground clearance, it's actually pretty small. So this is not a car that you'll be taking let me say on up country roads and then you'll be loading people. In case you want to do that, maybe you'll modify the car and install heavy duty springs, but then that also compromises on the ride quality of the car. Coming to the rear profile of this Honda Grace, let me say there is not much to talk about when it comes to the design, but this car looks better on the rear profile compared to the, let me say, compared to the face or bonnet. You have this Honda Grace, you have this Grace badge here, of course, and then you have this Honda badge here. You have these tail lights here which look pretty good, and then you have these chrome finishes here. Down here you have these parking sensors, of course, to help you when you're parking. They should be warning you. So if you are a Honda Fit fan but you don't love the hatchback design, then you can settle for this Honda Grace because she has a bigger boot. let's talk about the engines and the gearboxes in these 2016 Honda Grace. Now in the entry level, there is a 1.5 liter normally aspirated, or if you like, naturally aspirated petrol engine, which is married to a CVT gearbox driving the front wheels. We'll get to the numbers in a few moments. Another engine option is actually a 1.5 liter, also normally aspirated, which is coupled with an electric motor. Now, the non-hybrid variant, which is the car I'm driving, is rated at around 100 to 110 brake horsepower. Now, in the hybrid flavor, the 1.5 liter with its 100 HP, it's complemented by the 30 horsepower from the electric motor, and that is good for around 130 brake horsepower. Now in the hybrid flavor, things actually get more exciting, because in that car you're going to find it with a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox, or if you like, DCT. So those are the basic differences between this car and the hybrid one when it comes to the powertrains. So basically, this 1.5 liter up front here is the same engine you're going to get in a Honda Vezel or even some versions of the Honda Fit. Even the hybrid flavor, that 1.5 liter hybrid, is the same engine you're going to find in the Honda Vezel hybrid, and actually in the Honda Fit hybrid. So let's talk about the driving experience in this 2016 Honda Grace. As usual, it shifts pretty fine. That is, it has let me say, a smooth transition of gears, because CVT doesn't have a definite number of gears. And when I'm looking at the insulation of road noise compared to something like the Honda Fit area, which is the predecessor to this car, the insulation here has been improved. Of course, it lets in some road noise, but it's a big improvement from the Honda Fit area. Of course, when you try to push the car hard, you'll hear the CVT moans, which are pretty loud, but that is typical of CVT gearboxes. The suspension can be a little bit on the firm side, but of course you don't expect S-Class comfort in Honda Grace, because this is an entry-level saloon which will be taking you from point A to B without much problems. Transition of the gears, it's just as smooth. You don't feel like, let me say, it's not something that should be pinning you into your seat, because even when you're looking at the power ratings of this 1.5 liter, it's something that, let me say, it should be economical to run, not something that should blow your hair away, or something that should be pinning you into your seat. Now for this 1.5 liter, this base model, of course you have to time or make your overtaking calculations up pretty well, but it's still better than what the 1.5 liter of the Toyota Axio has, or even the 1.6 liter, that is the Subaru Impreza G4. So we want to test the 0 to 60, that is the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. That is the acceleration benchmark for this Honda Grace. So roll up the windows, kill the AC, and then throw the car into sports mode. Here we go. Right, that is 60, 80, 100. So when I'm comparing this non-hybrid flavor of the Honda Grace versus the hybrid variant, you realize that the hybrid variant, of course, is puncher, because you have like 30 horsepower extra, and then because the other car has a 7-speed DCT gearbox, it's actually better or more fun to drive. Of course, it comes out pricey, and then you realize that the hybrid batteries have a lifespan. That's why some people are going to go for the non-hybrid flavor. Of course, it's not that the non-hybrid flavor is that slow, because when you're looking at this 1.5 liter here versus something like a 1.5 liter in the Toyota Allion, the Toyota Axio, the Toyota Premio, or even the Nissan Sylphy, that is the 1.6 liter, you realize that they are at the same range. So it's no deal breaker, but if you want something that you can gun, then I'll say that the hybrid variant is the better pick for you. At this point, most probably you want to know, is the Honda Grace thirsty? Now, the main reason that you'll be going for a Honda Grace is because of fuel economy. Now, speaking of fuel economy, for this non-hybrid variant, when driven, let me say if you drive well, which is something you should be doing, especially in this car, because it is not a car that is meant for spirited driving, or let me say rally inspired driving. So when you drive it gently, the fuel economy figures for this car hover around 18 kilometers per liter. And for the non-hybrid variant, of course, it's gonna be better in that car because you have that electric motor assist. In that car, you can actually get around 23 kilometers per liter. Now, should you want to exercise your, let me say, spirited driving in this car, the fuel economy figures in this car are going to play around 14 kilometers per liter. At this point, most probably you want to know what is the reliability reputation of the Honda Grace. Now, you can never go wrong with the any Honda car literally when it comes to the powertrain, because Honda builds, let me say, foolproof or idiot-proof engines, because these engines are pretty simple to live with. They actually have no issues whatsoever when it comes to reliability. Now, this is a 1.5 liter here by Honda called, which has a Earth Dreams technology. EVTech is basically a very simple engine to live with. So basically, Earth Dreams technology in Honda is similar to what you'll be finding called a VVTi in Toyotas and Skyactiv in Mazda. So basically, that is some technology which ensures that you get good performance without necessarily compromising on the fuel efficiency of the car. Now, when you're looking at these 1.5 liter here, or even the 1.5 liter hybrid versions, you realize that they have no issues whatsoever. So you can say that the Honda Grace, it's a car that you're gonna live with it easily without necessarily issues coming up. It's not a car that is going to surprise you in the morning, that is going to, let me, fail you in the morning. So you can say that Grace will not let you down. She will stick with you through thick and thin as long as you maintain her properly. You give her the best treatment. That means you don't skip service intervals, you use the correct fluids, just simple maintenance of a normal car. And that way the Honda Grace will never let you down. It's now time for a cabin tour for this 2016 Honda Grace. How does she look like when it comes to the interior design? Is she beautiful? Let's find out. So, what features does this 2016 Honda Grace come with? Let me start with this steering wheel, because this is an entry level. It packs not many bells and whistles. You only have the volume control buttons on this steering wheel. And then on this side, you have this icon button. Of course, pressing the icon button means improving your gas mileage or getting better fuel economy, especially when it comes to traffic. Of course, it limits performance because it tends to keep RPMs low. And then coming to this side, you have a traction control button. And then you have this CTBA button here. CTBA basically means City Brake Assist, of course, to help you mitigate, or let me say, avoid hitting objects when it comes to traffic. So it's basically, let me say, it's a fancy name for collision mitigation system in Hondas. So when I'm looking at the execution of this cabin, it's not something that you're gonna buy and then you say that you have the best interior in your estate. Of course, because this is an entry-level Honda Grace or base model, that's why it comes with these fabric seats. If you step up to the hybrid trims and it is a higher trim level, it is going to come with half leather seats, which look pretty good. And then it's also going to come with cruise control on the right side of the steering wheel. And when you're looking at this cabin here, everything here is actually pretty simple to use. Of course, that is typical for an entry-level car. So accommodation-wise, this is the amount of headroom I have. It is actually, let me say, decent for this class of a car. For an average person like me, I won't be struggling in this car. The amount of legroom is actually pretty good. As you can see, if you adjust the seat to the back, you also have a pretty good amount of knee room. How about the second row seats? How do they look like? The second row seat of this Honda Grace is also accommodative. A generous amount of knee room, good amount of headroom. That means over long distances when you're seated at these back seats, it's not going to be a struggle whatsoever. This second row seat is actually more accommodative than even a Mazda Axela. How is the trunk space of this car? Let's find out. While the Honda Fit is among the most spacious hatchbacks in its segment, the reason you're going to consider a Honda Grace is because of the trunk space. Because this has a longer wheelbase and a boot extension, you have a generous amount of trunk space, which means a more practical car. So the reason maybe you're going to consider this car over Honda Grace, it's because you have more boot space. Let's address the elephant in the room. Should you go for a Honda Grace hybrid or the non-hybrid flavor? Now, the hybrid variant actually packs more power, it has better fuel economy, and most importantly, it has a stronger gearbox, because the hybrid variant actually has a 7-speed DCT gearbox, and then it has some technology which makes it, let me say, faster than the non-hybrid one. But if you are going for the non-hybrid one, you can be sure about reliability in the long term, because there are no electric batteries here to get worried of. But even if you go for the hybrid variants, Honda's reputation for building a powertrain is one of the best. So you should not be worried whatsoever if you go for the hybrid flavors. All you need to do is to ensure that you're getting a car which is in good condition, and most importantly, you take care of it well. So at this point, most probably you are interested in knowing the bride price for Honda Grace. Now, this non-hybrid variant of the Honda Grace normally goes for 1.5 million shillings. The hybrid variants, which actually pack more features, more power, and a better gearbox, are slightly pricier, because they normally start at around 1.5 million. So when you're looking at 1.55 million shillings, most probably the cars that will come into your mind at that price range will be something like Subaru Impreza, that is the G4, something like a Toyota Axio, or even the base models of the Mazda Axela. Now, this car is not an exact competitor to those ones, but if you want a saloon that, let me say, it's somewhat cheaper with low running costs, then the Honda Grace will hit your sweet spot. Actually, the main downside or a deal breaker with this Honda Grace, from my analysis and experience so far, is the lower ground clearance, because you have to go zigzag when it comes to bumps, otherwise you're going to spoil the underparts of this car. That is actually the main problem with this car. So should you buy the Honda Grace? Now, the Honda Grace is a reliable car. She will never let you down if you service her well. She has low ownership cost when I'm looking at the spare parts availability, because it shares most of its components with something like the Honda Fit and the Honda Vezel. And when you're looking at this car, it's somewhat unique when compared to the Toyota Axio, which is now everywhere, and maybe even the Allions and the Premiums, but then it's not in that class. So this is a car that I'll recommend to someone who wants a car that has low ownership cost. It's cheap to maintain, and most importantly, let me say, it's kind of unique, because it's not a car that you're going to find anywhere. So from my judgment of this car, my overall analysis is that it is good actually for even a first timer who doesn't want these compressed super minis, the likes of the Mazda Demio, the likes of the Honda Fit, the likes of the Nissan Note, the likes of the Toyota Vitz. So it is a car that you can trust. Each day when you wake up in the morning, it's something that you're gonna fire up and it will never skip a beat, because Hondas are known for their bulletproof reliability. I guess you've now known more about this 2016 Honda Grace. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.